Hello, welcome to Daily Sports welcome to the SportLyt. My name is Johnny. Of course, I'm used to the Daily Sports podcast. Welcome to SportLyt. Of course, it's a Friday. We're going to be talking about so much today. Remember that the weekend is on, full of action. Our clubs will be playing, mostly in the English Premier League. We have action at Lugogo, where the Super 8 will be, of course, happening also. We shall be having a guest who is already in the studios. We shall be interacting with something new. You know, we always bring in something new sport, new campaigns, and today we have something new. I'm with Shafiq Senoga, Saka Yekoyada, and our guest, that's Hakim Owini. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much.
Well, Hakim, what really brings you at Urban today?
Well, you guys will decided to partner with me to disseminate the message I'm campaigning for. I'm here campaigning for safe cycling lanes.
Safe cycling lanes.
We know that our city, the air pollution is massive, it's beyond recommended level, and that means when there's air pollution, a lot of lung diseases, and people end up spending a lot on their health because of air-induced diseases that affect the lungs. And we know the environmental degradation is a real subject affecting the whole world nowadays. And most of these problems come from human activities. And like say, using fossil combustion engines. And cycling is alternative means of transport.
Wait, you're so fast. I've seen this before. I've seen this in Rwanda. I mean, the Rwandese have developed something like that. There's an idea.
Rwanda.
Yes, there's that too. But no, there's that using cycling as a mean of transport. It's a specific day in Rwanda where people only use.
They park their cars.
They park their cars and use bikes to and from work. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So you're trying, but you don't have those lanes. I'm seeing cycling lanes.
Yeah,
Safe cycling lanes.
Yeah.
We don't have those lanes in Kampala. Our roads are already established. What's the cycling lane? I mean, phrase I'm saying.
Okay, it's a matter of planning and engineering. There's always an alternative. That's how it seems to be. But with engineering, you know, engineering is about providing solution. Like when you say the word engineering, it's basically a solution providers. We decide to plan now and integrate safe cycling lane to reduce environmental degradation or air pollution in the city, or we give excuse and say the road already fixed and pollute our city and the diseases kill us to health. So the choices come to leadership, the choices will come from the people, from the policy makers, from the people who make the budget, that what is the future of sustainable cities.
Okay.
And even the SDGs 11, if you're aware, the Sustainable Development Goal talk about sustainable cities. How are we going to build the sustainable cities? The solution I'm campaigning for is not for tomorrow, but the next generation of decision makers, the next generation of policy makers. What are they going to plan? And we, as the parents of this country, what kind of environment are we going to leave to our children? Okay. We can decide to leave them a big fat bank account and a messed up environment. So the choice is ours. You, Shafiq, and I, we are here just to disseminate this population. This information. And the reason why I'm happy to be at Urban today, to take the message outside there, and people become conscious about the environment and understand their impact on the environment. So the safe cycling lane provide carbon-free means of transport, and that will reduce on air pollution if people adopt the cycling culture. Then what you talked about in Rwanda one day, the policy, the authority came up with it. They are trying to use cycling as a culture, and that does not promote a culture of cycling. There are big cities in the world where people are very. Thank you very much. Yeah. Actually, they are going to be here during the flag off.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a delegation from the Netherlands embassy. They already confirmed they're going to be here. But are they poor? No.
Not really. That perception of big poor. Could we have those lanes? Have you seen the roads with cycling lanes?
Actually,
Kampala?
there's
one here.
Yeah, there are a few in Kampala. Actually, remember when they were renovating our roads during the COVID-19, that's when they used that period. Actually, I wanted to ask him that, of course, I've had the KCCA spokesperson, even the Minister of Works and Transport, but you as Akim and even the cycling, because I've liked the hashtag, free cycling lanes.
Safe
cycling lanes. Thank you so much. Have you engaged government, because these are the policy makers, yes, you are at Urban TV, of course, you're going to reach millions, but the policy makers, have you been to KCC? have you, I mean, had a
Have you
meeting with
approached
the Minister of
Transport
Works?
and Works?
Yeah.
Because they are the ones to put this in place.
Yeah. You know, like traditionally how institutions work, institution work organization to organization.
Yeah.
So an individual to penetrate, to reach them. Imagine what it took me to penetrate to reach you here in Aberdeen. Do you think if I'd met you on the street, you're like, oh, you come here.
We are not so hard to
I
meet.
know.
Don't feel like you're so hard to
No,
meet.
okay, it's not for
Yeah.
bad faith,
I
but for
understand.
control.
You must sell
There
the
must be
concept.
some.
Yeah. Some procedure.
I come from a background of administration. You have to be some control and balance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have everything, and you're going to fail how to implement. So, putting some measures. I understand the bureaucratic process. They're there to control, but I reached out to KCCA. I sent them a letter. I sent a letter to Ministry of Works. But the process sometimes, and they also have contradicting priorities as institutions, because that's what I learned. There's always, so they depend, okay, which one should we prioritize first? Yeah, government get a lot of money, but which one should they prioritize first? There's education, there's health, there's the environmental issue, there's transportation issue, there's paying salary, there's defense, there's, so which one is priority? So by us waking up and becoming environmentally conscious, Urban TV helping this message to reach the people, and people becoming environmentally conscious and start asking policymakers the right question of environment, makes policymakers to channel the budget towards environmental solutions and like say, okay, how are we going to design roads that are environmentally sustainable? How are we going to build cities that are environmentally sustainable? But today, what people do when they face policymakers are, the empire is young again.
I know.
Like it is the mentality people have. So we also contribute in degenerating our communities because we don't ask the right question. Good solutions come from good questions. So what I'm presenting here, I'm not the expert in environment.
Okay.
I'm here because I care. There are experts outside there. But for me, I'm just like, environment is very fragile. This air we breathe looks free. But if it's polluted with fumes and everything, it's going to be toxic. The money we make every day, we are busy making, is going to end up in the hospital. So people need to relate to all these issues and become environmentally conscious. And democratically, we go by number. If people start asking environmental questions, leaders are going to prioritize environment.
Okay. I'm looking at these bikes, the bikes that you guys are riding, or were riding. They don't seem to be the normal bikes. I thought I'd go and pick up my, what's that bike called? Manigaji Fuba. Hey,
But honestly speaking,
I got to pick up my manual bike. It has a specific name. It's called what? What's it branded? Please remind me.
Which one?
That Manigaji Fuba. It has a specific
In my
name.
language, they call it Twaramara.
Twaramara. But it has its own brand. Its own brand. But
the Hero de la
Hero. That's the one I wanted to hear. Yes, I thought I'd really got to pick up my Hero and, but look at the hills in Kampala. What will I really get to work?
Because you need a gear change.
Yes. Is this, this doesn't seem to be the kind of bike that a normal person can really afford. It seems to be pretty of a hybrid.
Well, at the end of the day, it comes to the decision we make. We are going to decide to either incur financial costs or incur environmental costs. So that goes to policymakers. That goes to what people think. That bike may look expensive, but if we continue our way of life, we are going to degrade our environment. And the fumes, the pollution end up in the food chain. So you see the connection, how it comes. People are fighting to protect their environment because environment is priceless. You cannot go in the supermarket and buy environment. So that means the environment is more expensive. It's beyond expensive to afford it when you pollute it. But anything with a price tag, you can afford it if you work.
Shafiq, I have a feeling you've, of course, you've been in the car, you're a driver yourself. Shafiq.
No. For me, you know what?
You ever said something?
No. You're right.
Yes.
I drive a car.
The perception you get when you meet someone, you're driving and you meet someone riding a bicycle on a highway. What's your feeling? What's your feeling like, apparently, like with this situation in Uganda?
I'm one of those people who enjoy riding bicycles. Actually, even in the pandemic, I used to come here with my bike. I normally ride it at home during Sundays when I'm off at work.
Okay.
But one of the most challenges I found during the pandemic, actually one of the days I regretted never to ride a bicycle again was on Entebbe Road. I think died around Freedom City. You know, there are so many borders. There's a vehicle.
There's trucks coming.
There's no lane that shows probably this is someone walking, this is someone riding. So for me, that's a big cycle. Because I remember when even I used probably to ride along that Nairobi where they set up a lane for
bicycles.
For bicycle. But you could still find a border rider getting through that way, or even a taxi. So for me, it's a huge thing.
It's
but
a big campaign.
Like you said, I think for me, I enjoy it so much. For me, I look at a basic of more of a healthy bit of it.
Okay.
When you ride, for me, it probably gets you where you want to be in terms of healthy perspective.
Yeah,
and for me, it gives me a better dimension. But the implementation bit of it, I think for me, is where we need it.
It's going to be
countries like Netherlands, who are actually implemented this so much, they're trying to benefit so much. Because when you look at the congestion or the traffic bit of it, I mean, I'm a mad person who believes that taxation shouldn't even be probably even in the city. They should be probably somewhere, a park where they park, then you get bikes and probably. But when you look at that, all that congestion, an area would have moved for about 10 minutes. I won't move for about 30 minutes because of the condition. For me, it's an idea, but looking at our country and looking at the implementation bit of it, I don't think it can probably work. It can work in the future because it's a long run plan, like you said. I mean, looking at the highways, because the money we spent in the health system and the money I'm going to spend probably reaching out to someone to avoid the pollution is little than what we're going to spend in terms of the investment we want to put in the health bit of it. So for me, it's a good idea. But a sad moment for me is the fact that it's an individual trying to do it.
You need a team.
No, even leaving a team. Federation like Uganda Cycling Federation, probably they could have actually taken.
Would Muzaima have a buy that
Like
idea?
because they think at a short plan level. He's trying to give us a long-term plan level because it gives you a better dimension. Because this is why we don't want to look at only probably competing for events. We want to look at a bigger picture, probably having events congestion with what can help actually the sector in terms of health sector, in terms of pollution. So for me, he has a very good initiative that probably even leaving Uganda, the federation, be it NCS, be it Minister of Education, so be it the Minister of Health, be it so many people that probably can actually go and jump on it to say they give.
You're talking about NCS, I almost hit on that. Please, when you're selling this idea to Mr. Mahaba, make sure I don't mention a word competing. If you're talking about competition, I don't think Mahaba can buy the idea.
You know, for me, it's
you know, because this is not competition. It's actually incorporating
and
cycling into transport.
Yes, and it starts if an individual brought the idea, even ahead of the federation, or the federation will look at only competing. We need to go beyond that. I mean, there are situations whereby you need to go back and give, because what he's trying to do is not helping him as a person. It's not helping Hakim. He's helping so many people out there that are going to be affected because of the air pollution. So for me, it should be a collective effort that, yes, so many organizations should come in, come on board probably to say, okay, they give him the support needs as an individual. Because like I said, it's a plan that's going to take us far, far, far miles. I mean, like I've told you, I see people ride these bicycles in Netherlands, and you probably feel that this is a best form of transport.
It's a normal. Actually, I see the Prime Minister of Netherlands riding a bike. I mean, going to work with his briefcase.
Yeah, so for me, it's an area that you want, and it will kill off so many things. Like I said, the congestion here, the air pollution, the traffic, so many things that we're probably to settle in a simple manner. Because like I said, we are too congested. If you go down in Kampala, moving from Cairo Bank to go to, let me say, Nairobi Road, you could actually, if it was a normal locality, at the times of pandemic, you could walk probably for 5 minutes or 10. But if moving from now, you go there right now, you can even walk for 30 minutes because of there's so many congestion within that area.
Okay, interesting. Well, Hakim, like they say, it starts with you. Like, have you tried to really incorporate this to, say, the village, the community you live with? You know, how many people have really bought this idea, like institutions and all that? How far have you really gone with that?
Well, luckily, my village where I come from, everyone rides. Sisters, mothers, aunties, grandmothers.
Where is that?
That is Agago, Kitgum, Gulu. Everyone rides bike.
People riding with pots
As
on
kids,
their
we
heads.
grew up fetching water
Okay.
on bicycle. My father used to run a small restaurant. You know, like as villages, you come from struggling families.
I know.
So no cars, no nothing, no running water. So bicycle, it's something like no-brainer. Everyone likes to ride. Even when a beautiful girl and you don't know how to ride a bike, that It's
Yes,
eternal.
looked at as failure.
And so, but that's a side. Yeah, I've also like tried to work on, say, rethinking on how to build climate smart villages, and how like a village can reduce, because all resources get depleted. Like if you go back to village, people use firewood.
I know.
But that firewood they use does not grow every year. It takes years. That means if you cut firewood here, if your home is here and you cut the tree here, next day you're going to walk a long distance. Next day you're going to walk a long distance.
I know.
So before you know, you're crossing into someone's land. Before you know, it's conflict. So, but climate smart village, I'm digressing a bit. I wanted to focus on,
It's okay.
but I'm going to give you
It's okay.
perspective. So by that, like, how are we disposing our waste? Where are we planting our sports area? Where our kids are going to play? Where is the forest which give us biodiversity? Like integrating, because these are resources we need for our livelihood. This life, this air, the food we eat come from the environment. So we need to plan for those resources very carefully in a sustainable way. You know, you can bargain for anything, but you're not going to bargain for the size of Uganda. If you're going to bargain for the size of Uganda, you have to have a lot of money.
I know.
Of which no country is willing to sell its part. You cannot go to Rwanda, you want to buy a plot of you and add it on
There's
Uganda.
someone that can buy it.
Or you're going to fight.
I know, you're
You
going
get
to
to
fight
understand.
to grab.
And that piece of land have definite resources, and the population keep increasing every day. So planning, engineering, policymakers, they have to think about all those resources. Because prices, anything with a price tag is very cheap. Today you cannot say, oh, our map today was this small, now we bought Congo is this big. For today, like from that used to happen before Columbus.
I know.
Where people used to
Just come and grab and know.
when UN territories were naturalized, you have a definite territory. And
That's
your
you.
population,
That's Uganda.
That's Uganda. So the resources within Uganda, whenever the population increases, even if you want 1 billion, you have to depend on that
On those
specific.
small resources.
So now, where the leadership comes in, I don't own this campaign. Shafiq, you can come this and say, hey, Hakim, let's take over. Let me help you in complementing. I'm just complementing to provide a vision to the people, like to think, how do we manage our environmental resources sustainably to pursue prosperity, security, and stability. That's all. Like a simple cycling lane it's just a very small thing. In terms of a budget, it's small, but the impact can have on the population and the benefit it brings.
very big.
It's enormous.
Okay.
So I want people to rethink. And it's not only leaders, you and I, our voices, we have to start asking the right question. We as citizens, we have not done good to ourselves asking our leaders what we need to prioritize. When we meet this leader, we want to drink, we are asking for family things.
Telling you.
Yeah? And that's a very toxic
I know.
environment.
Mindset
to live in.
Materialism.
We don't have vision. Okay, what do we plan for our community? When everyone like help a leader to champion a campaign, they want something for them themselves. So we need to think as a community.
Okay.
A community is a common unity. So without that common unity, you're just a gang of strangers who just survive by backstabbing each other. And that's a very dangerous area to live in. So for us to prosper as a country, just that perspective, but we come back to the safe cycling lens.
Okay.
That I don't want people to get lost. So we only need, I can unpack a lot of.
I know. I think
things
about.
that
I think once you're working with the biggest media house in the country, perhaps this has really happened. Just really come through. Well, Hakim Owini, of course, the initiator of the Safe Cycling Lanes, is dedicated this, of course, segment to him. So we're trying to really make sure all this really happens. Hakim, I can see so many. Should I see partners?
Yeah.
EB. What's EB? I can see. Which is the other? I mean, explain those partners.
This is Rostra. It's a company. They supported water, my water on the road.
Interesting.
One Luo is a TV, also belongs to
Luo,
Vision
okay.
Group. They were like helping to disseminate that message.
Okay.
If I got Urban earlier, Urban would be here.
I know.
Or Sponsor,
I know.
it would be
Once
here.
you have one Luo, it's a bit sorted. Halfway. Yes.
Urban would be here,
Okay.
but we have one on October coming. I'm going to start from here. Kampala, Kigali, same cause. In October, there's going to be a climate science in Kigali,
Wow,
by the way.
okay.
Yeah.
Then EB,
EB, they're the one giving the bike. They gave a bike.
they gave you a bike.
They gave me a bike.
That's
That
the
bike I'm
electric bike.
cycling. That's the electric bike. They're sponsoring it because there's a climate week in Nairobi. There's
Okay.
Africa
That's the
Climate
bike
Week.
you're talking about.
That's the bike going to
The
Nairobi.
one you're seated on.
They're all. This one is
they're
like
all donated by EEB.
No, the other one is just to show another brand they have. The other one is a mountain bike.
Okay.
And one is it's like family.
The electric, probably you give us a better explanation of the electric. How much does it cost? How much?
Yeah,
does it
you
cost?
charge. You just use like the charge is like a computer charger. You charge the battery. Yeah.
How long does the battery last?
The battery
For
takes
someone
you
who's going to ride
on
from Kampala to Nairobi.
From Kampala to Nairobi, it depends on the terrain. You know, like the resistance the motor face, the power face, the more power it consumes. On the flat terrain, it can take you like 80 kilometers.
What's
also
that?
depends on
You rev.
No, you just cycle.
You just cycle, but
just
softer.
Softer.
Oh.
Let me, if you're here, you try it on Monday when it's fully charged.
Okay, can't wait.
Yeah,
I
on
can't
Monday
wait.
when we are flagging
So
off.
finally, before
On a normal, so how much does it charge? If probably, how much does it charge?
From 0 to full,
No, I'm saying in terms of price. If how much can it cost probably to
for
buy
one to have it.
For one to have it, it goes for 3 million. They're still figuring. They're not even open in Uganda yet.
Oh.
But they are studying the market here and Rwanda. But they are
a good
fully
approach.
established in Kenya. If you see EB, then those supported meals for the campaign. Infonile, they are geo-journalists.
Wow.
They train journalists on data visualization, but on geo data, like environmental resources like water, air, so if you want to learn, as journalists, you want to learn data visualization and reporting scientific reports into journalistic reporting, they are Infonile.
Interesting.
Hakim, maybe lastly, how many are you going to? Because we've been talking about you, Hakim, but how many?
Yeah, actually,
are you
I will of course talk about the flag off. What are you going to be
how
flagged
many are
off
you
for? Where are you
going to be
going?
flagged off?
I'm going to be flagged off at the New Vision.
Alone?
Where are you going?
There are communities joining.
Okay.
There are like communities of Ugandan cyclists like NTN Fitness. Coach Newton will be here. I was with him, was giving me techniques of, he's an expert in cycling. He trains at Fitness Paradise, Kabira. I've been in touch with cycling leaders like Kojo from Ultimate Bikes, Rasby. I've been communicating. I've not met these people. I know I met Coach Newton.
Please engage Mr. Mahaba.
Yeah,
Have a
I would love to
one-on-one
get his contact.
Yes.
I've been
So
like,
give you his contact.
yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, there's a lot that perhaps Hakim would have really unveiled for us or given us. He has a lot that we really wish to hear about this whole initiative. But just know it's really a smart initiative. And countries are really jumping on this for environmental conservation. Why not Uganda? Let's go for a short break. I want to get back. We shall be continuing with our sports event.